Alright, we're going to do one more method of factoring here, and this way, it's really it's weird when you first see it, but this is one of those things that if you practice it, it's really not so bad. This is called the Tic-Tac-Toe Method, and quite literally because it looks like tic-tac-toe at first. Alright. First order of business, always and forever. We are going to determine and factor the GCF. Alright, well, I know that this is going to be shocking, but this expression here is going to have a GCF, and it's not going to be a particularly friendly one. Right out of the gate, most students would freak out in general because we're talking about two variables now, but it really doesn't change anything because first thing we should look for is GCF. Everybody here seems to have a y, right? And the x's, not everyone has, so we know that we're not going to have a GCF there, but we've got a 10, a 106, and a 44. So it looks to me like our GCF here is going to end up being 2y. And as always, we just kind of park it out there and then leave it. We'll get back to it later. So I've got 53x minus 22. Alright, and once again, we're just going to kind of ignore this for right now, and we're going to really hone in on the trinomial here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to give myself plenty of space. What we do here is set up the tic-tac-toe board. Okay, I'll just say T board. Well, you set it up quite literally like tic-tac-toe. Okay? So, here's the way it works. What's going to go in this first column, right, is the ax squared. What goes in here is c, and what goes in here is bx, right? And that all goes up top here. Okay? So that's going to go right across this row. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is 5x squared. So that goes right here. And then the next thing that pops in there is the negative 22. That's going to go here, and then the bx, negative 53x. Alright, cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I move down this box by thinking about multiples. Right? So, obviously, there are only two things in this world. Right? They're both going to end up having an x in them. Right? Because they're going to multiply to x squared. What I want to know is what can I multiply to get 5x squared? Well, since 5 is a prime, our only choice here would be 5 and 1. 5x times x is 5x squared. Right? And what we basically do is we go up by multiplying. So we think, alright, what are things I multiply to get 5x squared? So I start at the bottom, 1x, and I multiply that by 5x. Boom, that's 5x squared. And we may need to do this a few different times to find something that works. Alright, next thing we do the same type of thing here. We go up by multiplying. So we think to ourselves, okay, what multiplies to negative 22?
Please get off the tables. Get off the tables.
Alright.
Off the tables.
Sounds like they're
please.
Sounds like they're doing an announcement. Alright, so they're going to multiply to negative 22. So the only two things I can think of that multiply to 22 are 2 and 11. And the only reason I can think of those is because, well, I can't think of any more than those because those are primes. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the 11 in here and the 2 here. And one of these has to be negative, so let's try the negative 2 first. Alright, now what we do is we multiply across. So I multiply 5x and negative 2, and I end up with negative 10x. and then I multiply x and 11, and I get 11x. And now I add these together, and when these equal negative 53, I'm done. Well, unfortunately, if I take negative 10x's and I add 11x's to them, I end up with just 1x. So I'm not done. So this set of numbers here totally didn't work. So now I start over. So the negative 2 and the 11 are the things I'll move, because obviously the 5x and the x, you know, it doesn't make a difference where they go, because they're just interchangeable at this juncture. So that's not going to work. None of this is going to work. This is all depressing and sad. So we just get rid of it. Alright. So now, what I'm going to end up doing is the same thing I tried before. Alright, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is pop the negative, or let's just switch the positions. Let's see if that changes anything. So I'll go ahead and put the minus 2 here, and I'll put the 11 up here. 5 times 11 is 55x. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2x. I add these together, 55x minus, that looks dreadful. All right, let me fix that. Minus 2x, look, I did it again, is 53x, but I want negative 53x. So the good news here is all I have to do now to make this work out is change the signs. So then if I just reverse the signs here, I know I'm basically done. Well, not basically, I think literally at this stage of the game. So now this becomes negative 55, this becomes 2x, and now, actually now I can just do this, 53x, there we go. Now, what we do, this is the part that gets a little weird, okay, as if it hasn't been weird enough as it is. Now I just go directly across. I do diagonals, rather. So the first set of factors would be x minus 11, and the next set of factors, I'm running out of colors, it's incredible. The next set of factors would be 5x plus 2. And per usual, we've got this GCF here. So let me just write this again. Our final factorization, the final dealie, 2x, x minus 11, 5x plus 2. Okay, so the tic-tac-toe, I mean, once you set it up, it solves itself. The trick is setting it up right, and it can be really overwhelming and kind of confusing. So I encourage you to experiment with it a little bit before you really commit to it. And I hope that this can be helpful to you all. Good luck.